What's up, everyone? It's Willette with Urbex and Coasters, and this is a more serious video that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I think I finally have it figured out how I want to say it. So, a lot of the criticism that gets directed at Sarah is from people who are on the right, because she claims to be on the left. And I just want to put this out there. You can figure out where I lean politically based off of this. I'm trans. I live in California. I live out of my vehicle. I'm a vegetarian. Let's see. Do I need to keep... I have no love for the cops as someone who likes urban exploring, among other things that I've had issues with police on. Do I need to keep going? You can figure out where I lean politically based off of those statements. So, the reason I bring all that up is to all of the Coaster Studios defenders, I don't want to hear it that you think I'm some MAGA troll that doesn't like Sarah because she's a woman who leans left. I don't want to hear it. That being said, there is a very particular issue in the theme park space that, as an influencer that leans to the left, that I have touched on, that, as someone who claims to lean to the left, she should care a shit ton about. The well-known meme of memes. Universal investing a shit ton of money into J.K. Rowling in spite of her behavior over the past 5 years. And as you can see, Wallen Ballin did block me for my opinion on Battle of the Ministry being negative. And, as someone who claims to be a lefty that cares about LGBTQ people, I'm sure Sarah uses her platform in this industry that gets a lot of following to make her voice heard, that, Universal should not be partnering with J.K. Rowling, someone who has spent a lot of the Harry Potter money that has been made in recent years, who on anti-trans legislation in the UK. Legislation that Trump has tried to copy and paste in a lot of ways, by the way. Condescendingly telling a trans person that you're on their side, despite not wanting to listen to them about the issue, while simultaneously saying that you have had butterbeers in the past year, when J.K. Rowling has had this behavior for the past 5 years? Yeah, that's not something that a lefty is doing. Yeah, that's something that someone who is making at least 7 figures a year from social media, from being a social media influencer, something that someone who cares about a continued place in the industry at the expense of people they claim to care about, that's something that someone like that would do. And the ultimate thesis of this video, this is something that someone who wants to potentially have another career path, if my point about the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger having a lot of mirrors to the Sears and Kmart merger ends up to be correct, and there end up being very few parks out there, the industry ends up being tiny, and she suddenly doesn't have a place in this industry. This is something that allows her to, whether it's positive or negative attention that she gets online, it's something that allows her to be relevant in another way besides the theme park industry. So this is something that allows her to maintain that relevance even when the theme park industry is decimated in 15 to 20 years, like I think is going to happen because of the Cedar Fair Six Flags merger. And I think they're going to do exactly what the Sears Kmart merger did, where, people are shocked if I mentioned there still being a couple open Sears locations. People are shocked if I go explore one of those that aren't super in the know about the whole Sears Kmart situation. I know some people talk about influencers, and one of the requirements for influencers practically being to be a leftist. That's only true as long as you're not someone who is going to stand in the way of capitalism by any means. And that includes, saying that you think it's wrong that a company like Universal would continue to have clients like J.K. Rowling. Now, I want to be clear. When I'm making this video, I am by no means telling you don't go to Universal for roller coasters. Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift looks great. Stardust Racers looks great. Velocicoaster looks great. I'd love to get on those things, and I have no judgment against people who want to go get on those rides. What I am saying is, don't buy Harry Potter merch. What I am saying is, I want Harry Potter to be removed from Universal. And, of course, what I am saying is, these influencers are not going to say anything that threatens money that their contacts have in terms of stuff like, say, the contract that J.K. Rowling makes a lot of money from Universal that, Sarah probably knows people who have signed that contract. So, they're not going to say anything that affects that. So all of these influencers, they care more about money than they care about anything that they claim they care about. And ultimately, Sarah, you and Taylor have my sympathy when it comes to MAGA people coming after you. You have my sympathy when it comes to any sort of mental health stuff. I get it. I'm saying to listen to your LGBTQ fans who are bringing up this point that you don't want to address.